Once again, thank you for joining us for a webinar entitled The Power of BI, Wiser Decisions Through Data Analysis. I am your host, Ivona Petkovska. Our presenter today will be our CEO of CloudFirst, Denis Gentles. Denis has over 20 years of experience in the IT industry, has managed large-scale IT projects for companies such as Citibank, Lockheed Martin, WebEx, JetBlue Airways, as well as numerous small organizations. As the founder of CloudFirst, Denis has led our company to receive 2 silver competencies from Microsoft for cloud productivity and small and mid-sized business cloud solutions. Now, please give a warm welcome to Denis Gentles.
Thank you, Ivona, for that introduction. As was mentioned, the title of our discussion is The Power of BI, Wiser Decisions Through Data Analysis. And so what is business intelligence? Well, BI, which stands for business intelligence, is really a term that's used today in order to describe the software that is used in order to mine data, to collect data, and then to analyze this data, and then to be able to make intelligent decisions for one's business based on this data. And so there's a long history behind business intelligence. I'll just go back about 10 years ago, however, it was very big, where companies were spending millions of dollars on servers and equipment that were to collect data. It was called data warehousing. And data was being collected from many different areas of the company and put into these large databases so that they can be mined and then analyzed. And there were specific roles and responsibilities, jobs in the IT department where people, analysts would come in, and high-paid analysts that would look at this data that was collected in the data warehouse and then create reports for different department heads and say, okay, here it is. This is the report of all the data we collected. And so for large organizations, multinational or very large corporations, this proved to be very effective because they were able to make wonderful decisions based on this data. New marketing information. Okay, maybe we need to market to these customers at this time, and they were able to make decisions very quickly based on it. But again, I go back to the fact that only some of the larger organizations were able to benefit from this type of technology. Today, fast forwarding into 2016, things are different. Business intelligence is something that is not only left to large major corporations, but really it's available for all. Where we are today is the fact that only 10% of an organization's business users actually do business analysis. And this is something that can change because now it is available for most people to be able to do that. However, the challenge still exists in accessing this data, analyzing it, and that sometimes can be a daunting task. And so, there's questions such as where does this data live? How can the average person access the data, and how can it be in the right format for us to analyze it? Well, to solve this type of problem, there are very easy to use tools for BI today. And we're going to discuss some of these tools. We recognize that the world of data certainly is changing. We recognize that by 2015, organizations that build a modern information management system will outperform their peers. Now, this was, of course, it's past 2015, but this is a survey that was done by Gartner some years back. I believe it was 2012. And then it shows that organizations that back then who began to invest in management systems of data, that they would really outperform their peers financially. And this over time, this has proven to be true. The fact that organizations that really take a look at all of this data that they're collecting in from their various departments, they are able to make better decisions. They're able to make better business decisions based on collecting this data and putting it together. One, being able to tap into these different data sources for smarter analytics to drive business insight. This is a prevalent theme of something that's going on more and more today. And so when we think about data that's being collected maybe from marketing, from the website, data that's being collected from the front lines, maybe point of sale machines or from our salespeople, financial data of what money is coming into the bank and leaving the bank, what bills and receivables and that the company has. What about the manufacturing side? How fast are we producing our product? How efficient are we delivering that product? All of this data kind of comes into various different systems. We may have a financial system. We may have, a marketing system, public things such as Twitter and Facebook for social media. There's many different areas. And so when we talk about business intelligence for everyone, we mean being able to make it available for every person in the organization. As was stated in the outset, only IT individuals, only analysts, initially it was really only certain persons in the IT department, engineers who was able to go in, perhaps a database administrator would go in and run some reports based on what the business units wanted and delivered it. And that was an expensive process, not only in the time that it took, but also in the type of resources that it took in order to deliver that data. And then later on, it was kind of shifted to the data, to the business analyst. And so these were individuals, perhaps they did work for the IT department, or perhaps they worked for the business unit, but they were more on the business side. They understood the business a little bit better, yet they understood technology and was able to communicate with IT in order to bring these reports up. But when we talk about business intelligence for everyone, what we're saying is that the average worker, the average information worker at their desk, now with the ability of the cloud and some of the latest technology that's available, can quickly log into a website and right from their desk begin to pull some very powerful reports from the data that the company has in a repository. And then now be able to make decisions, very intelligent decisions very quickly because they have access to this data. So when we talk about this type of technology, one of the things that we are going to highlight more and more throughout this presentation is a product called Power BI from Microsoft. Now, this is not to say that this is the only application that does business intelligence. There are many cloud applications that do it. We'll talk about some of the others as well. But just know, as I talk about Power BI and some of these features, these are not features that are unique to this particular product. These features are found in just about all of the packaged Power BI applications on the shelf. I only reference Power BI because, one, it's a Microsoft product that this particular webinar is hosted via Microsoft as well, and it is a frame of reference for us to talk about, but in no way is it just a promotion of this as the only solution for some of these things that we're going to talk about. So when we look at what business intelligence really does for us, it allows us to take the data that comes in from different sources and answer questions on that data. So what happened? Why did it happen? It lets us take a step further into the future. What will happen? And now, what should we do about it? What action shall we take? And so it really takes us from the fact of looking at the data, making a decision, and then now taking action based on the data. And so before, not having this information as business owners and as business leaders, we kind of was stuck with our gut feeling on matters. And that is something very powerful. That's something not to ignore, especially after having a lot of experience in business in a certain role and a certain aspect of it. We can kind of go by our gut feeling and understand what we might need to do on a certain matter. However, having a gut feeling, but having it backed by hard numbers and solid research, that's something that's indisputable. That's something that we can take to a meeting and we can convince our peers that, okay, this is the right decision we should make, and this is the reason why. And that is something that can truly help an organization to not only to grow, but to unify and to really be able to make steps forward in the right direction in order to promote the business that's underlying it. So that is some of the benefits of what Power BI brings to the table, of what business intelligence in general brings to the table. Power BI, as well as many of the other applications, also has the ability to analyze this data in a very powerful way. With Power BI, there's Microsoft Cortana Analytics Suite. Microsoft Cortana Analytics Suite is a product that works with Power BI that allows for this information management, along with the data stores, along with machine learning and analytics, and then being able to present it in a visualized way. And so what Cortana does, this analytics suite, is allows us to have some very powerful business-related or automated analysis, not just simply taking the data and one person having to look at it and try to figure out what's going on, but it uses machine learning in order to learn our business and to learn the trends, and then now it analyzes it from an artificial intelligence point of view, and then now brings us suggestions as to some of the decisions that we should make, suggestions on the actions that we should take. And so that is, again, a very powerful feature of business intelligence. So when it comes to business intelligence, sometimes an organization steps back, and especially if they're new to this concept, they may feel that this is something that will be very costly, or it's something that they don't want to invest in because maybe they've already invested in some type of data warehousing or some type of other type of solution that manages their data. However, most business intelligent packages, and I'll preface this by helping you to understand that business intelligent packages today are mostly run in the cloud. So therefore, as I talked about before, the millions of dollars that were spent initially by organizations in order to build servers with processing power that's able to take millions of lines of data and be able to organize it and analyze it, this was extremely expensive, and that's why the price tag was so high. But now these same type of servers, very powerful servers, are in the cloud, and they don't have to be owned by the company who wants to leverage the business intelligence. Therefore, an organization can simply get an account, connect their data sources, and the analysis and the intelligence takes place on servers that are in the cloud. The benefit is a huge drop in price. It's available to organizations of all sizes, and it's available to not only individuals in IT, but to the common information worker at their desk. And so when we talk about building on an investment, an organization who may have already invested in some type of data warehouse solution, they don't have to push this investment aside or to lose value in it. They can simply build on top of it with modern business intelligence applications. So Power BI, for instance, works with Excel. An organization may have just tons of Excel spreadsheets that they're maybe doing some financial modeling on, or some other type of data is stored in all of these Excel spreadsheets. They can easily be imported into Power BI, as well as an organization that has invested in SQL Server. SQL Server analysis services and SQL Server reporting services work directly with Power BI, and this information can be leveraged. Some of the exciting features of Power BI in general is the ability to access this data from many different sources or on many different platforms, such as Windows, of course, then on iOS, on Android. also on HTML5. And what that really means on HTML5 is that any web browser out there that supports HTML5, which is pretty much almost any device out there that allows you to go to the internet, any device, that will allow you to use Power BI. You can use Power BI on all of those platforms. So mobile devices, tablets, you name it. Power BI also comes with built-in dashboards and reports that make it very simple once you plug your data into it. Very simple to have wonderful visualization, graphs, and we'll talk more about those. But these dashboards and graphs also update in real time. So let's say we are using Excel spreadsheet that holds this data. We add a line to the spreadsheet. Well, Power BI reads that line, brings it up into the cloud, and then now in our dashboard, it reflects it without us having to refresh. It just does it in real time. Then there's intuitive data exploratory using natural language. You're able to just ask questions into the dashboard, natural English language. How much have we made in the last week in our Chicago office? Questions such as that, and then it can respond back and give us the information, not only the number, but show it in a graph. Then the fact that all of this is secure. We have, if our data is in-house, it's on-premise, we can have a secure connection from the cloud directly into it. That's encrypted, so we don't have to worry about data theft or anything such as that. It is regulated so that we can be confident that our information is secure and that only those who need access will have access to it. When we talk about the connection of this data to our data sources, Power BI has the ability to connect to a wide variety of data sources. So, of course, since Power BI is a Microsoft app, and again, I like to mention that there are other business intelligence applications out there, and they also connect to a wide variety of data sources. So Microsoft Power BI is not the only solution that does this. But again, using it as a frame of reference, Power BI connects to Intuit, QuickBooks, it connects to GitHub, to Adobe Analytics, to Web Trends, of course to SQL, to MailChimp. These are some of the applications, so you can get a kind of an understanding or feel for what's possible. Being able to connect to service manager applications such as Zendesk and Google Analytics. Those type of applications all store data in themselves. And they all have their own analysis that we can go in, we can analyze the data that application has developed. But what we're talking about when we talk about business intelligence is being able to take the data from a wide variety of different sources and now be able to capture trends on that. Let's say I have some data that's pulled in from my service desk. I have a group of service technicians that input information into Zendesk. Well, I can easily go into Zendesk and look at reports. How many tickets are we closing? How efficient are we with closing these tickets, and who's opening the tickets? That's all in Zendesk. But then let's say I also want to connect to Google Analytics that is analyzing my website. That's usually done by the marketing department, not the customer service area. So the marketing department can easily go in and see, oh, wow, how many people are coming to my website? How often? Where are these people coming from? And then let's say QuickBooks Online. I can analyze who's paying, who's not paying, how quickly our invoices are being paid, and just all of the financial data that you would expect to get out of a financial software package. But what we're saying with Power BI or with any business intelligent application, we can take the data from QuickBooks. We can take the data from Zendesk. We can take the data from Google Analytics. So now we have marketing department data, finance department data, customer service or operations data, and we can put it all together and we can now make some very powerful trends on this data. We can see that we did a marketing campaign, and based on this marketing campaign, more people came to our website, and at the same time that more people came to our website, we can notice that perhaps the amount of amount of revenue we billed during that month also increased, and the amount of tickets that were closed by the help desk went down. Well, why did that happen? What does that trend mean? Now there's powerful machine learning and analytics behind it to kind of give us the answer. Perhaps it was because of XYZ, or perhaps because of this. This was an example that I just made up, but from whatever organization that we have and that we're running, we can quickly come up with our own scenarios and create our own ideas. In fact, once we plug in our data into Power BI, we don't have to sit back and kind of think of how we want to organize it. The machine learning part gives us the ability to say, okay, well, look at this trend, and it discovers trends for us. And on top of that, we can make intelligent decisions. So here in this particular slide, it talks about market leadership, the market leadership of Power BI, and how it was stated by Forrester that Microsoft Power BI leads the pack when it comes to agile business intelligence applications. That is their opinion, of course, and of course, one would look at different applications to see which one works best with their organization. However, some of the Power BI vendors out there is MicroStrategy, TIBCO, there's SAP, Tableau, Oracle, Information Builders, Good Data. All of these are names of organizations that have a business intelligence platform that an organization may want to look at to see if the features on it work well with what their organization is trying to achieve. However, once again, what we're talking about throughout this particular webinar is just some basic features that you would probably find in almost any package. Custom data visualization and dashboards. So we have the ability to create dashboards that are very pleasing to the eye, that helps us to be able to quickly visualize data. It is known that if data is on a graph or it's on a table, the eye is able to pick up on those trends a little bit easier rather than just seeing hard, flat numbers on a spreadsheet. Of course, visualizing it makes it pop out. And thus, doing that in an automated way is something that most business intelligence applications allow us to do. Power BI certainly is no exception to that. Over 90,000 organizations in 185 countries use Power BI. It is a growing vendor. Microsoft is a growing vendor when it comes to business intelligence. But what this statistic really tells us is the fact that business intelligence as a whole is something that more organizations are moving to, and it's something that smaller organizations have access to more than ever. Power BI, for instance, however, does work with Office 365. It is built right into it. I mean, it's something that we add on that can build on top of Office 365. The benefit of that is, right from some of our same productivity tools that we might be using, we can easily share and collaborate the information that is found in Power BI. So when we talk about Power BI for Office 365, we know in Office 365 there's SharePoint and the ability to have sites, SharePoint sites. Well, Power BI completely integrates with that so that we can create team sites and websites that have our Power BI data, and those graphs can easily be seen and shared among our peers within our department, within other departments in the organization, or even externally to outside partners. Maybe there's some business intelligent graphs that we want to share with them so that they can go in and they can see information about what's going on internally in our organization, depending on what type of partner that we have. There's shared queries. We can create queries. A person, now that this information is available to individuals right on their desktop, they're able to take these queries and build them for themselves and then share it with the team, so other persons don't have to go through the same work of building specific queries on the data. Data refresh. Data refresh is great because it keeps the reports up to date. We don't have to go back. Long are the days gone where we talked about where an IT person had to collect these reports. I personally remember working on a database project, I guess maybe 12, 13 years ago. It was a very big project with, I believe, Guardian Life Insurance Organization, where individuals were pulling out policy information, and it was pulling them out of the SQL warehouse, the SQL database, and organizing it and analyzing it and creating these crystal reports. These reports were then given to the business leaders who was looking at the information. However, the point about it is that every couple of weeks, every couple of days, a request came back into the IT department. Okay, we need to run this report all over again. And that took several hours to do. And then to format it and then send it back up the food chain. Well, the point about Power BI, it is leaps ahead of those days of old, in that this same information can easily be received from a web page, a Power BI web page, and that the report is real time. So we don't have to go back to an IT person and say, okay, give me an update on the report. It's just updating all the time. And we can take snapshots, or we can go back historically and say, okay, how did this data look yesterday? How did this data look last month? And so the power in the technology can clearly be seen. There's data search that allows us to take the data from our organization and connect it with public available data, maybe census data, and then shared queries from our organization or sharing it from other organizations, and then again, being able to make some great decisions based on seeing all of this data together. Mobile access is available, being able to take all of this information, not just sit at our desk and get them, but receive them on our tablets, on our mobile devices. We could be at the golf course, we could be on vacation, we could be sitting by the pool, wherever we are, we can gather powerful information and get updates. And this is great for executives. They may be looking to have a dashboard to see everything that's going on in their organization, and in real time. We talked about natural language questions. We're able to ask questions of the dashboard. What was our increase of sales between 2016 and 2017 in store number 42 or in district 11? We can now get very specific in the type of questions that we can ask, but again, it's in natural language. And so using the power of Cortana, we talked about that a little bit earlier, Cortana is under the suite of assistants like Siri from Apple. We can go and talk to Cortana and ask her questions about our data, and she can respond based on the information. So what does business intelligence allow us to do? Well, it allows us to discover data that we have, but now it's like new because we're discovering what it looks like, because usually an organization pulls in so many bits of information, no one can actually really see what it is or analyze it the right way. So after discovering it, it really leads to analyzing. Now we know what data is out there. We can model that data and we can analyze it. And then the beauty of Power BI is that we're able to visualize it too, and be able to see it in a dashboard or on a graph. We can see it geographically, something like that. Another feature of Power BI is the ability for it to integrate with SAP. SAP is an enterprise relationship management software that organizations use to run their entire organization. Using SAP Business Objects, Power BI is able to pull that information out and again be able to digest it and use it to deliver powerful, intelligent information for us as well. Well, I thank you very much for attending this morning. We had the opportunity to look at what business intelligence is, what it can do for your organization, how Power BI represents business intelligence, and some of the features of Power BI, which of course are seen throughout many other of the same business intelligence applications that might be out there on the market. If you have any questions concerning the information that I presented, please reach out to me. My email address is dgentles@cloudfirstinc.com. That's dgentles@cloudfirstinc.com. Again, thank you very much, and this concludes our webinar.